Hello everyone, hi, hello. My name is Morgan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Alright everyone, now if you just watched my January TBR, you probably noticed that I'm wearing the same sweatshirt. That's because I'm filming both these videos on the same exact day and I'm not changing. But if you look at the title, we are doing my 25 books I want to read in 2025. You see, it's year 2025. 25 books. This is a must. Now, a lot of these books I don't have the physical copy of because they're not out yet. A lot of these are pre-orders that I already have, but the book just isn't out yet. So I will place a picture of it right here so that way you know what I'm talking about. But yes, we're gonna go ahead and go through all the books that I want to read in 2025. If you see me looking down, it's because I have a list of the books that I want to read in 2025. They're not in any specific order. Like, I don't want to read these. The first book I say is the book I really want to read. 25 is kind of like, if I don't get there, it's fine. No, it's not like that. Very random order. These are all just books that I want to read by the end of this year. So, we have our first book is going to be Clearly Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. This book actually just came out yesterday. I did not get my hands on the Target edition, but it's fine because I have the UK and the German edition coming, and I got the deluxe edition. And when Fairy Loot drops theirs, I will buy the Fairy Loot edition too. Now, before any of you guys start coming for me in the comments asking why I need so many copies of the same book, I am a book collector. I'm not just a reader. Those are two, in my opinion, those are two separate things. A reader and then a book collector. I'm both. So I love to read my books, but then I also love collecting those special rare editions of the book as well. So yeah. So our first one is Onyx Storm. If you don't know, this is a part of the Empyrean series. This is the third book in this series, so I won't tell you what this one is about. But Fourth Wing is about a girl named Violet. She has been training all of her life to become a scribe, and then her mother forces her to go in the rider's quadrant instead, which basically means like a dragon rider. They have to go through all of this kind of training. They have to bond with a dragon, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it gets intense. And then there's also a guy named Xaden Ryerson in the book as well, who kind of is the leader of like the rebels in the Riders Quadrant. It's a romance, so clearly there's a romance between the two of them. It's enemies to lovers. They're not supposed to love each other, but they can't help it. Yada yada yada. This book, the first two, is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. They both leave on cliffhangers, so if you want to read that book, just be prepared to end on a cliffhanger and to be ready to pick up the next one, which is why I'm so scared to just go ahead and read this one because it just came out, and I think she admitted that it's going to be like a 5 or 6 book series, so I'm nervous that this is also going to leave on a cliffhanger, but I'm more nervous that TikTok will spoil it for me if I wait. So, Onyx Storm. Ouch, I just hurt myself. Okay. Next book up is going to be Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Now, let me see if I can pull up the description of this book. I believe it's actually an adult book. It's not YA. And I don't believe it's a STEM romance either. Because as everyone here should know, Ali Hazelwood is known for her STEM romances, but she is kind of branching out. Like, she just came out with Bride, which obviously was not a STEM romance, but I did read it. So this one says, a competitive diver and an ace swimmer jump into forbidden waters in the steamy college romance from the New York Times bestselling author of The Love Hypothesis. Nope, that was not right. I don't know how to read. Scarlett Vandermeer is swimming upstream. A junior at Stanford and a student athlete who specializes in platform diving, Scarlett prefers to keep her head down, concentrating on getting into med school and on recovering from the injury that almost ended her career. She has no time for relationships, at least that's what she tells herself. Swim captain world champion, all-around aquatics golden boy, Lucas Blomqvist, I butchered that, I'm so sorry, thrives on discipline. It's how he wins gold medals and breaks records, complete focus with every stroke. On the surface, Lucas and Scarlett have nothing in common until a well-guarded secret slips out and everything changes. So they start an arrangement, and as the pressure leading to the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It was supposed to be just a temporary, mutually satisfying fling, but when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realizes that her heart might be treading into dangerous water. Now, I did get the edition that has the really, like off of Amazon, that the really pretty stenciled edges on it, and then I already bought it and then found out that Probably Smut, I do have a subscription with them. Their February book is also deep end, so we shall see if I like it enough to keep both copies. If I don't, I will probably end up getting rid of one of the copies and just keeping one. I don't know, but I do have both those coming. That book comes out in February. I don't know what day it comes out. The 11th, I think. Nope, it comes out February 4th. So I'm very, 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 very excited. And that is Sarah Caroli's Patreon book club pick for February. So even if it doesn't make it to my February TBR, I will most likely be reading it. Okay, next book is going to be Scythe and Sparrow, which is actually the last book from the Leather and Lark trilogy. It also is not out yet. I think that one comes out later in the year. But these books follow more of like a serial killer romances. So I don't know if I would classify it as dark romance, but sometimes it does kind of talk about some things that normally you probably wouldn't see in a book. But yeah, it's the Ruinous Love trilogy. It's the final book in that trilogy. It comes out February 11th, so another one that comes out in February. And the only description I have for it is a circus motorcycle performer Rose meets lonely small town Dr. Finn after a night of murderous adventure goes awry. But yeah, all these books follow serial killer romances and kind of make you feel, kind of question a little bit, is what they're doing actually wrong, or it makes you think, which is why I love that series so much. But yeah, that doesn't come out until the beginning of February, but I am excited for that book. Next is going to be Rebel Witch, which I have the Fairy Loot edition of the first book, The Crimson Moth. I do own that one. Don't ask me which one. I have all my ones with edges like facing out, so I can't ever really tell which one. But it is the sequel to The Crimson Moth, that if anyone has read that book, then you will know the first one left on a cliffhanger, and I was very, very, very upset. Fairy Loot hasn't announced yet if they're doing, I think they announced that they will be doing a sequel for Rebel Witch that will match the first one, but they haven't started an order for it yet. So I kind of hope so I can have matching ones, but just in case, I did just order the standard hardcover on Amazon. I pre-ordered it. That way I can be prepared. But I won't tell you what Rebel Witch is about, but the first one, it has two names. It's either Crimson Moth or the Heartless Hunter. Kind of depends. From I think the UK, the US editions are just named something different, but they're the same book. Now it's a witch hunter who falls in love with a witch. Now please, normally I don't like witch books, which is weird to me. You would think I would. The only witch book I've ever found myself liking was the X Hex. I love that book. It was so cute. But any other time I try to read a witch story, I can't get into it. I don't like it. But when Fairy Loot, when this got sent in my subscription box, I was like, let me go ahead and give it a try. I know normally I don't like witch books, so I probably will get rid of it. Binged it in a day. Loved that book. It was so good. I ended up giving it a 4.25 rating, so I have really high hopes for this one. But if you haven't read Heartless Hunter yet, that book, it says, on the night Rune's life changed forever, blood ran in the streets. This one, the magic system is a little bit more weird. You can tell it's kind of more like blood magic, which is get their magic from blood. But people can tell, like, if you have scars all over your body and all that kind of stuff, if you're a witch, because that probably means that you're trying to get your blood so you can do witchcraft. So since witches are being hunted down, Rune has to find ways to kind of hide the fact that she's a witch from the witch hunter, but she's also trying to save the rest of her kind. It's a really, really, really good book, and I do recommend reading it. But just fair warning, that book also leaves on a cliffhanger. So, and the second one's not even out yet. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. But yeah, really excited for that one. The next one is, so book number 5 is going to be Story of My Life by Lucy Score. I am a Lucy Score. I love her. I have no idea what this book is about, but I have all of her books. So she's an author for me. So I will always buy it. I have no idea what it's about, and I love going into her books blind, because usually her books are, I don't want to say they're slow burn. They're not really slow burn in my opinion, but at the same time, there's always a form of something in her books, so I like to go in just blindly. It's like a little silly goofy surprise. But yeah, that book also is not out. That doesn't come out until later in the year, but I did pre-order the one with the pretty edges. So hopefully I like it, because I ordered that one in the standard edition. So hopefully I like it, but I think I will. There hasn't been a Lucy Score book yet that I haven't liked, so I do feel like I like that one. Okay, number 6 is Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is another book that I have no idea what it's about, but Abby Jimenez will and always will be an auto-buy author for me. I love her. All of her books have been 4 stars or higher. I have never given any of her books anything lower. I might have given one a 3-star. I can't remember which one it is. But even if it's a 3-star, it's a really loved 3-star. Love her. Love her. Cannot wait for that book to come out. I believe that one comes out later in the year, but when it does come out, best believe I will be reading it. Okay, number 7 is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I also own all of Emily Henry's books. The only book by Emily Henry I haven't read yet is Funny Story. That's the only book I haven't read, but I do own it. So, and I think that one comes out around the same time that Abby Jimenez's new book also comes out. So I'm really excited. Also going into this book blindly. I'm not going to read the description. I love going into their books blind and just not knowing a thing. So I'm going to continue that little trend that I do for myself. Okay, book 8 is, I do have a copy of this book. So the next book is A Language of Dragons. Who is the author? By S.F. Williamson. This is the Fairy Lou edition, so it has a custom dust jacket, it has illustrated art, and I do believe it's also signed. I hope it's signed. Well, they do digital signatures, so it's like an author's note, and then digitally signed at the very bottom. But yes, obviously, I am a big, huge Fourth Wing lover, so if you're going to have a book about dragons, I'm going to read it. Now, the reviews on this book that I've seen so far aren't the best. I think it's kind of just like a mid-range book, but I still want to give it a try just to kind of see what it's about. Obviously, it's a romance. Like, look at that. That's all I need. Now it says, and it's a time piece book, which normally I don't like books that take place in like the 1900s, but I want to give this a try. It shouldn't take me long. It has huge font, but it says London 1923. Can't read it. Okay, London 1923. Dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the streets, but Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules and get an internship studying dragon languages. By midnight, Viv has started a civil war. With her parents arrested and her little sister missing, all the safety Viv has worked for is collapsing around her. So when a lifeline is offered in the form of a mysterious job, she grabs it. Arriving at Bletchley Park, Viv discovers that she has been recruited to uncover the secrets of a hidden dragon language. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again. If she doesn't, they all die. But the more Viv learns, the more she realizes that the bubble she's grown up in isn't as safe as she thought. And eventually she must decide, what war is she really fighting for? Now this is what the normal cover art is, but I kind of love illustrated covers a little bit more, so I did flip it. But I'm hoping. I love this book. I love anything, if it has dragons in it, count me in. It's not too long of a book. It's not even 500 pages, and the font is huge, so I'm hoping to get to this one. And can we look at these edges? Stunning. So I would love to read that book. Next book is going to be Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. Now, everyone is on the Kristen Hanna train, so I would also like to be on the Kristen Hanna train. But as you guys know, I believe this is a timepiece, which is something I'm not really into, but I wanted to give her a try. It's kind of huge though, so this might be something I pick up on my Kindle. I'll have to see if it's on Kindle. But everyone always has such good, and I have a lot of her books. I have this one, The Great Alone, and The Nightingale. So I have a lot of her books and I haven't read any of them. So, but I want to go into this book blindly as well. I have no idea what it's about, but I have seen really, really good reviews about it. But I'm still going to go into it a little bit blindly. And I haven't like read a lot. The only reviews I've seen is like Sarah Crowley, all of like the Book Girls reviews. That's it. I haven't read any of the Goodreads reviews because I want to go into it blindly. So yeah, excited for that one. Then we also have the sequel to Better Than the Movies. We have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. I love Better Than the Movies, but I'm just nervous because a lot of people apparently did not like this book. But I have met Lynn Painter and I own all of her books, and majority of the books I do have are signed by her. I love Lynn Painter, so I have very, very high hopes for this book, which is why I'm so scared, because I feel like since I have such high hopes for it, that I'm going to go into it with such high expectations that I'm not going to love it. But we're still going to try it. I don't know, I don't want to say anything because this is technically the second book, but it's a YA romance. I think we can all clearly tell what it is like, but I believe the first book, it was kind of more enemies to lovers. Like, kind of think about all the movies that gives the not popular girl a makeover, makes her popular, like that kind of thing. Kind of think of it like this. This is the category I would put these books in, and I eat it up every time, and I'm so excited. So Lynn Painter, keep going. All right, number 11 is Not Another Love Song. This book is not out yet, but I have read a few. I think this is part of a series. Let me check. Yeah, by Julie Soto. It's not part of a series, but I've read Forget Me Not. I've read that one. And I also have Rose in Chains pre-ordered that also comes out this year. But this one, I believe it's like a celloist or a violinist. There's two of them. So two string players fight their attraction for each other as they compete for center stage in the spicy and emotional romance. So they're obviously both fighting for like that first chair spot, so enemies to lovers. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I said in this video, I might have said in my TBR video, I don't really see true enemies to lovers in romance books. I more see in fantasy books. I feel like in fantasy the enemies is really enemies, like they'll kill each other, whereas in romance they're not really enemies, they just kind of really don't like each other, but low down, like deep down, they actually do like each other. But not saying that I don't like enemies to lovers in romance. I do. I eat it up every time. But yeah, I just like it better in fantasy. But that will be book 11. Book 12 is going to be Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This whole entire series is actually on my books I want to read this year, but I didn't want to put the whole entire series on my 25 books in 2025. So the whole series is just gonna be book 12, like number 12. So like Saving Six, Redeeming Six, Taming Seven. I have all of them, and I'm reading them slowly because the subject matter in this book, in this whole entire series, is a lot. I know a lot of people were able just to binge and read them back to back to back, but once I finish this book, I need like something sweet and cozy in between it, just because it's such a hard book to read, and I still don't understand how they're YA. But this follows, in the first two books, it follows Shannon and her love interest. This one follows Shannon's brother Joey and his girlfriend, and they take place during the events that also are taking place in Binding and Keeping 13, just from his point of view. And Joey's my favorite, so I'm very, very, very excited for this book. I know majority of these people have already read this series, and I'm a little behind. I don't care. I'm excited. I love this series. So good. Number 13 is actually, I know we were just talking about this book earlier, it's going to be Funny Story by Emily Henry. It's the last Emily Henry book that I haven't read besides the books that she has coming out. I have to read this book. I keep trying to start. I actually think I got pretty far in. I got 100 pages in, and then I stopped reading it. So now I have to start over because I don't remember what I did read. But I love her books. Her books are always just sweet, cute, but always have like an underline of like a lesson to learn from them. I love her writing style, so I'm really, 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 really looking forward to this. I think this one follows her. I think it's the main girl and then her fiance. They're telling their love story, Oh, but he falls in love with her best friend instead. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually kind of really excited for this book. Now that I just read the blurb, it just made me a little bit more excited. But yeah, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. Now we have, this isn't the final book in this series, but it's, I believe, the third one, Accomplice to the Villain. When I first started to read that first book to that series, I did not like it. I actually DNF'd it, got rid of the book. Then this year, I think in December, I repurchased the book, Assistant to the Villain, and I retried it, loved it. Right when I finished that book, I finished it in a day. I bought the next one the next day, binged it in that day, and now I'm like everyone else waiting for the third book. And I know she put on TikTok that the third one is not the last book, so that's why I'm not too nervous about it. But the way the second book ended, I'm like, release. I'm ready, but I have it pre-ordered so that way I can get the nice pretty edges that also come with it. I'm sad because since I DNF'd Assistant to the Villain and I got rid of it, I don't have the red edges. I now just have the white edges, and then I'm gonna have the rest of the books with their edges, which is really sad. Really sad, but it's okay because that series is now, I used to not be a cozy fantasy girl, but I think now that I'm in my romance era that I don't mind cozy fantasy. Like sometimes I do need a high stakes fantasy. Don't get me wrong, I love Sarah J Maas, she's right here. Sometimes I love a high stakes fantasy, but sometimes you just need a little cozy fantasy. That sounds just like me. So yeah, that one's also on there. Then number 15 is Sounds Like Love. That book also is not out yet. Is that Ashley Poston? I have a lot of pre-orders that I kind of get confused sometimes. Let me pull it up. Yep, I was right. It's Ashley Poston, Sounds Like Love. I just love her covers. I love her books too, but her covers are always so pretty. This book comes out June 17th, so we have some time before that one comes out. But a hit-making songwriter and a bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake. In the next sparkling magical book from Ashley Poston, Jenny Lark is living the dream. She's one of the most coveted songwriters out in LA. The thing I like about her book is she always has a hint of like magical realism in her books as well. Like, what book did I just read by her that I really liked? I can't remember. And I can't find where I put them on my bookshelf. I think they're at the very top, so I can't see it. The 7-Year Slip, which had a sense of magical realism with the time travel. I've read another one, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, a novel love story. That one, magical realism, because she went into an actual love story. She got transformed into a love story. So I'm really excited to see what the magic realism is going to be in her new book, Sounds Like Love. I'm really excited for that book. Okay, the next one, it's called It's a Love Story. Is this by Sarah Adams? I don't think so. I think I made that up. Annabelle Monaghan. I've read a good chunk of her books, actually. I've read Same Time Next Year and Nora Goes Off Script, and I really enjoyed both of those. So when I saw that she was coming out with a new book, it comes out in May 27th of this year. Really excited. I don't know what it's about. An adolescent TV punchline who has left her awkwardness in the rearview mirror thanks to a fake it till you make it mantra that has her on the cusp of success until she tells a lie that sets her on a crash course with her past. Spending a week in Long Island with the last man she thinks might make her believe in love. Rules for a love story. There are none. It's all a lie. Jane Jackson knows that true love is a lie. Laughter is the only truth. You can't fake a belly laugh. Jane should know she spent her adolescence as poor Janie Jakes, the barbecue sauce in her braces punchline on America's 5th favorite sitcom. Now she's a creative executive at Clearwater Studios, and she's living by a new mantra. Fake it till you make it. Except she might have faked it too far. Desperate to get her first project greenlit, and riled up by her pompous cinematographer and one-time crush Dan Finnegan, she opened her mouth and a big fat fit fell out. She claimed that Jack Quinlan, hottest pop star at the moment, has promised to write an original song for the soundtrack. Jack may have been her first kiss and greatest source of shame, but she hasn't spoken to him in 20 years. Now Jane must turn to the last man she'd ever want to owe, Dan Finnegan, because Jack is playing a festival in Dan's hometown on Long Island, and Dan has an in. A week in close quarters with Dan while facing down her past and Jane's idea of hell, but Dan just might surprise her. So it's another enemies to lovers. A lot of enemies to lovers coming out this year. It's like the most popular romance trope in my opinion. But I like Annabelle Monaghan's writing. It's a book that you can binge in a day. I always know that if I have one of her books that I can get it done in a day and eat it up every time. So I'm really, really excited, and the cover is really pretty. So I am excited. Okay. The next one is The Love Haters by Catherine Sinner. I love her books. I actually just finished, the rom-comers yesterday. It was so good. It was so good. Like, no one can ever tell me anything about her and get me not to like her. I believe, I've read The Bodyguard and the rom-comers, and I loved both. I think that was it. Oh, and Hello Stranger. Love that book. But yeah, I love Catherine Sinner. I also go into her books blindly because they're just silly, goofy romances that if I just need a palate cleanser, she's who I go to, and she's another author for me. But yeah, I'm going to get that one this year. Watch Me by Tahira Mafi, which is the same author as the Shatter Me series. This one, I think it might follow a new generation of kids, and I pre-ordered the deluxe edition that comes out later this year. I'm really excited. I actually still have to finish the last book of the Shatter Me series, and I'll get there eventually. I'll get there before that book comes out. Just know it might take me a while. But I'll get there. Don't judge me. Okay, number 19 is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. Her writing is also really good. She has a book coming out the beginning of this year, and I'm very, very excited. It's the beginning of a new series that she's starting, and the cover is just gorgeous. It's a hopeless romantic meets a jaded radio host in this cozy, sleepless in Seattle-inspired love story from beloved author B.K. Borison. Love her. Love her writing. It's also just something really quick and easy, like another palate cleanser. I loved Love Light Farms. I thought that book was so, so, so cute. So I'm really, really excited for First Time Caller. The next one, which we just talked about earlier, book number 20, is going to be The Rose Bargain. I just talked about this book earlier. Maybe I should have talked about it while I was because it's also by Julie Soto, but she's going into fantasy. I think this is her debut fantasy novel. She normally writes romance. No, I lied. No, this is by Sasha Payne Smith. I don't know what other book I was talking about. Ignore everything I said. No, this is by Sasha Payne Smith. I've never read anything by this author, but it says The Cruel Prince meets The Selection. I loved the Cruel Prince trilogy. I love Holly Black, and I actually am one of the few people that actually liked The Selection. I read it when I was younger, so that might be why. I'm sure if I read it now, I wouldn't like it as much, but I do like The Selection, so I'm really, really, really excited. And the cover, stunning. So pretty. Now, next up, number 21, we have Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. I own every Tessa Bailey. She's another auto-buy author for me. There's a few of her books lately that I read that were a miss for me. But the series that this one is part of, I believe this also, there was a book that was about a nanny, and I think there was also like Fangirl about a golfer, and I think the other one was about a girl, like single father trope, and then the nanny, that whole entire thing. I like this series, which is why I pre-ordered this one. I believe it's about a movie star, maybe? I don't know, I haven't read the description, but like I said, she's an auto-buy author for me. She's had a few misses, but most of the time it's a hit, so I'm very, very excited. And I got the edges. I don't know if you can tell, but I love when books do edges, so I did get that. The next book is going to be Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I want to finish all of Elsie Silver's series, so I'm literally in the middle of all 3 of her series that I own. This is the new one that she has currently coming out, so I'm trying to finish the Gold Rush Ranch series before I start this one, so I won't start this one until I finish that. But yeah, and this is the first print runs that have like the mountains on the spines that make a picture. Cowboy, small town romance, my favorite trope. That's all y'all need to know. So next up is going to be Girl of Nightmares by Kendar Blake. I loved Anna Dressed in Blood. I didn't think I would like it, but I read that book, I want to say a year or two ago, and I really, really, really liked it. And this book, the series is only a duology, I believe. So I want to finish it. I want to finish this series so I can feel better about myself because I've had this series for so long. I haven't finished it. I believe, oh no, there's 2 books. So if I finish this book, it'll be another series that I finish. And at some point I will be filming a video finishing the series that I'm in the middle of. So this one might be a part of that video. So keep an eye out for that. Number 24, we have The Gracier by Kim Liggett. This is actually on my January TBR, so hopefully this book makes it. It's a YA thriller with magic, with a magic system in it as well. So I'm really intrigued, and I don't like mystery thrillers often, but the mystery thrillers I do like are YA. So I'm hoping I end up liking this one as well. And now the last book is actually Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I bought this book when it came out, and I still have yet to read it. And as a Lynn Painter fan, I can't believe that I did that. I just think other books came out around the same exact time, and it just kind of got buried underneath everything else. But I will be finishing this book this year. Count my words. And look at this cover. Oh, it's so cute. But yeah, that is all 25 books that I want to read in 2025. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment down below if any of these books that I just talked about are also on your 25 books in 2025. What books you want to read this year? Let me know, because maybe we can read them together and we can help each other out. But please go ahead and like this video, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media like TikTok and Instagram as well to get some behind the scenes content of anything that I might be posting. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.